Hi there and welcome. This is Corey Michael Sanchez here with Mojo Video Marketing doing an amazing interview for the Mojo show. And you can always go to mojovideomarketing.com to get more of these. There's a form there. Just fill it out and we'll update you every time we do an amazing interview with top experts from around the world. And today we are very privileged to have the one and only Debbie Allen on here today. And we've known Debbie for a while, but she is always up and up on every new amazing thing that's going on. She's an international traveler. She does international speaking presentations. So Debbie, welcome to the show.
I feel like I'm on the Mojo TV. This is very cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, absolutely. We're happy to have you. And it's amazing because you live in Arizona, so do we. And you are absolutely, a celebrity both here and across the nation, across the globe. So it's really great to see you on here and have you on here. So I'm going to give a little introduction on Debbie, and then we're going to go and talk about how are you going to be a high-paid expert? She's really great at that. How do you become an authority? How do you become an expert in your niche market? How do you get top quality clients? And do that as easy as Debbie does it, because she surely makes it look easy. I know she probably works very hard at what she does, but she certainly makes it look fabulously easy. So Debbie Allen is a business and brand strategist. She's a best-selling author. She's also a motivational film star and a mentor to business owners around the globe. She's an expert strategist in the fields of business growth, marketing, and branding. She is also an award-winning entrepreneur who has presented before thousands of people in 28 countries around the world. And she possesses the unique ability to really instantly solve any business problem and leverage solutions and marketing trends that earn authority around your brand. She has over 4 decades of business building wisdom, and she easily understands the dynamic of making big money in any economy or with any business reinvention. So with that, I'm happy to welcome Debbie Allen to the Mojo show. And how are you doing today, Debbie?
Oh, well, I'm always good when I'm hanging out with you, Corey. I love your energy. And another award-winning entrepreneur. Congratulations on all that you've done, too. So, Corey, I've gotten to know you over the years and watched the growth of your company, too. And that's why I'm excited to, bring you on board, work on some projects with you as well. And, I've invested in your systems. I believe in what you do. So, so it's great that we've collaborated here to expand this message out to more people.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. That really means a lot coming from you, and because you've done so much, and you've been around for a while, and you've had many successful businesses. And I'm really pumped about being hearing from you about being a high-paid expert, because you're really seen as the experts of the experts, right? The expert of the experts, and that's really fabulous. So let me ask you this: How can someone become a high-paid expert in their niche market, and how can they do it like you have done it in such a short amount of time?
Well, it seems like a short amount of time, right? Until you really do it. Same with you. I'm sure it looks the same. But it is a process. It is a system or a formula that I've actually created. It's actually taken me 3 years to actually teach it. I've been doing this professionally as a highly paid expert for 20 years, mostly through professional speaking and then personal mentoring. So, then I started doing much more personal mentoring on, with programs where I actually take people and do the process for them and with them, and it was getting such dramatic results. So, it's kind of just this formula was starting to be put together. I believe in check-by-check systems to make things happen, especially when it can work for everybody when you do it. And so, it's been this process. So it started out when I wanted to teach it. I first started teaching it to, doing a teleseminar series. Then I turned it into a product. This is actually the product. This is 6 hours plus a video plus handouts on this little tiny business card thing. And on the back, it's got a little thumb drive, right? So when you're an expert, you learn to communicate many ways. People always say, I don't want to be a speaker, but you want to be a speaker, a coach, a consultant, an information product person, expert in many different things. And what's so exciting now the timing was so perfect to teach this and write the book on it and do events on it, because there's never a better time than ever before to become an expert faster because of the internet and all the social media. Now we're here hanging on Google Plus Hangouts. It looks like we got a TV show. I mean, you can really blow up your expertise, but the first step is building that brand foundation, getting a strong direction. And so that's kind of where I start with people if they come and do a jumpstart program with me.
And here's the thing, I'm really curious about this. How can someone, how did you make your first dollar by being an expert? Because I'm sure there's a lot of history around that. I'd be excited to learn about that.
My first dollar, it actually came from doing a freebie first, and then getting what I call getting my ask in gear, ASK. So when I asked to get paid to share my expertise, the first time I spoke, they said, we don't necessarily believe in the seminars, and that was the money man talking, right? So it wasn't that they didn't believe in seminars and the education to their group, it was because they didn't have a budget. So I said, well, I know the value that I have to offer. It's like I'm speaking passionately about wanting to help people, especially small business owners, survive and thrive. And so I want to be able to speak here. You have thousands of people coming. It was a big trade show in Vegas, and they were buying. And I'm like, why are you not educating them to be successful? This is absolutely crazy. So here I was, one of the first women in that industry to speak, and one of the first speakers, right? And so kind of launched it in the retail industry, because that was where I came from, building and selling retail stores. So I said, so basically getting the asking gear meant I would like to, first of all, I will offer you this. I will pack the room, standing room only. I had no idea how I was going to do that, right? Shameless marketer, I can do that, right? Get the word out. And that's how I learned how to fill events. Very first thing before I knew what I was doing. So I filled the event, filled the room, the seminar room, by going around talking to all my salespeople, passing out the flyers, get on the buses, telling people on the way to the trade show every day, what they need to come to my seminar, pack the room. And I said, because I would do this at no cost, I want to get this media promotion. So I was on front of their publication. I was featured in all of their registration posters. Got a lot of publicity from it. And then I said, when I fill the room and I do a good job, you'll refer me to 3 other clients who are paid clients who will launch my career. And that's exactly how I launched.
Got it. That's excellent. Very cool. That's a really interesting story. So kind of like a make it up as you go, right? Kind of deal. Which, yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurs do that. So that's
before you make it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I knew I had the expertise to share. I had the passion to share, and I didn't know about selling a program, but I actually sold them into the concept of creating a new career. I mean, that's because a lot of people would say, oh, that failed. And about 5 minutes after he said, no, we can't bring you in, I felt that way. And I crawled underneath my desk and sat under there, cried for about 5 minutes going, my career's destroyed as an expert. And then I went, no, snap out of it. There's got to be a win here. It's got to make sense. And, create a win-win. And I think that's what you've got to do. But again, when you already consider yourself the expert, it is a mindset thing, you don't give it away for nothing. I made it a win-win. But I asked for a lot of things that were actually more than what the value of the money would have been. Because you said making your first dollar, because that was probably worth 10 times more than what he would have paid me.
Right. Exactly. No, that's exactly true. When you're doing things from the ground up and learning, I mean, the value on the education is so incredibly important. And I gotta hand it to you, when I go to your events or I see you speak, there is it is amazing because your branding is just so put together. I mean, you've got like your 2 banner stands behind you, you've got your back of your computers all branded, you've got all this stuff, and it's like I'm like, wow, this is like, I wouldn't have thought of that. And so do you think it was like some of your background in retail that kind of helped you kind of like realize that expert branding level? Did you learn it from somewhere else? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I call it bringing my dog and pony show. And I knew all those other speakers because you were there speaking at this event they were just recently at. And then they see you bring all the dog and pony stuff, and they go, "Shit, why didn't I think of that? I had all my stuff. I could have brought it." You know, even
Yeah.
the event planner who ran the event didn't have anything,
I
right?
know.
Like, okay, I'm going to stand out. So, I've always realized, as a marketer, is, I love marketing. It's all about standing out and being different. And, and it comes from a process of figuring out how to do it, but it's paying attention to what you notice, what really stands out. And that's why I start with the foundation with people, the brand foundation, because if you don't have that a brand foundation right, how are you ever going to launch your marketing stuff to make any sense? And once you have all that, like you said, you're almost faking it before you make it, because you could show up with all this really, really cool marketing stuff and maybe not be the best speaker, but you look pretty good, and you can work your way into it. But, I don't believe in just calling yourself an expert. If you're not really there, you have to do some due diligence and some work around it for sure to know what you're talking about. But there's a lot of opportunity. But again, most people can't see how to do their branding and create that because they're so close to their own business. I happen to love marketing, and I've been a student of it for 20 plus years. And I did learn that through, retail, real estate, every kind of business I've ever been involved in, I've had to market it. And that was never a challenge for me because I love that. It's like a game. You know that. You're Market of the Year, for gosh sake, right? It's a game. And it's so fun when you try something, come with an idea, and you put it out there and you're like, oh my gosh, people are buying. And I always believe that marketing is a lot more fun than trying to sell. Because if you market really good, people want to buy from you. You don't even have to sell. All of your marketing and your branding efforts and your expertise and knowledge sells you.
I love that. And and you've got this down pat. I mean, I watched you present. You talked about how even experienced entrepreneurs, how their brands kind of stunk, right? How they lack some critical elements that are necessary for their brand in order to really be seen and attract the right kind of people. So, and there's two different fields, right? There's kind of people starting out, and there's people that are a little bit more experienced. And so let's talk about the people just starting out first, then we'll go into the more experienced levels. But for somebody just starting out, right, they consider themselves an expert. Maybe they've been in a field for a long time, a particular industry. If let's just say they want to make their first dollars, right, in being a high-paid expert. What would be your kind of like I know you love checklists, so what would be like their first 3 steps, their first 5 steps? How would they make their first dollars being an expert?
Okay, well, again, I'll mention that brand foundation. That's got to be set up first. You got to do that, right? Then you launch. First thing you want to do is people go, well, I don't have a product. So, I got to make money. If the first thing I got to do is go maybe get an opportunity to speak somewhere, even if it's in front of one person or 5 people or whatever it is, you get an opportunity to get out there and speak, whether it's on a teleseminar, a webinar, a Google Hangout, wherever it is, right? And then you're going to sell something at the end. Because before we used to say, when I first started out as a speaker, you have to speak to get paid, right? Because we didn't know to speak and sell, where you can actually make more money when you become brilliant at that. But the thing is, your product is you. So the number one product you have is you, because the most valuable thing you have is your time. So if you are speaking on a topic or you're sharing some wisdom in some kind of format, then of course you want to record everything that you do, and that can become a product as well. But just remember that you already have you. So if you're selling time with you, whether on a group call, a personal call, anything you can do, that should be your highest, most top valued product that you could possibly create, because you can't make any more time. Then the other product that I have people create, first thing is teleseminar, because that's so easy, because I always say you can pick up a phone, you can talk on the phone, you can put the record button, okay? Anyone that is not techno savvy at all can do that. And so, that's real simple. And then you kind of get a point where, like, your show up here, Friday, is that the day you show up? Like every Friday you're hanging out?
Yeah, that's one of the days that we do hangouts, yes.
Right, so there's a commitment there, right? So whether there's a commitment on doing like a Google Plus we're doing now, or teleseminar or something, there's a commitment that you have, and you tell people to show up. Even if your best friend and their cat's showing up, you're still going to be there, right?
Yeah.
And it forces you to create product, to get better at talking and becoming better at being that expert.
That's excellent. Okay, good. Yeah, that makes sense. So how would because this is always, it's kind of something that's really hard for people to overcome in their mind, is, well, what do I charge, Debbie? I mean, I have no idea. I'm used to getting a salary, or I'm, doing something over here. How could I possibly charge for this? I mean, what do I base that on?
Well, I think that when you definitely, everybody needs to be working with a mentor that guides them on this, because there is a mindset thing. If you're a solo entrepreneur or somebody that just came out of a corporate market trying to brand yourself as an expert, a consultant, and you're not working with a mentor, you're absolutely crazy, insane, because you're going to make way too many mistakes. It costs you way too much money. I know this because it's worked for me when I've hired the right people, for sure. I go fast. I have patience. I want to go fast. I want to lose money. I want to do it right. And so, that's one of the things you definitely need to do. And like you mentioned about starting out as the expert, at whatever ground level you're at. I actually had a client that said, I have no skills. I don't know what I want to do. I want to speak to people. I'm like, really? I'm like, on what? What are you good at? She said, I'm really good at procrastinating. I'm like, so I branded her as the stop procrastination expert. So she helps people now, because she's done every excuse. She's actually a very good speaker. She's really very funny, and she's made this a really great presentation. And so whether it starts out at that level or you become the authority, once you've been doing it for many years. I don't call myself a coach anymore. I'm a mentor. I have an authority, a thought leader, world's top thought leader. So you kind of go through there's different levels of expertise that you go through. So when you first start out, maybe asking $1,000 to go speak somewhere seems like outrageous, but that's where I started 20 years ago, when I asked somebody, like, what should I charge to speak? And he said, charge $1,000. I went, oh, so it is a mindset of what you're worth, and you have to get good at that. So I always believe price your program where you feel confident, because otherwise you're going to bomb at sales. Because when you start, and you know this, like when you start saying like what the price is, you're like, your voice changes. I used to do that. Like I'd be all like sharing information as the expert, and then when I come to the sale, I'd be like kind of quiet, and I didn't even subconsciously, I didn't know I was doing it. And then one of my mentors was sitting in the back and said, you shifted your energy. I'm like, I didn't even realize it. I said, when I do that next time, just stand up in the back of the room, and I'll know. I'll click in. And so it's and then you keep raising it according to, like, how many clients you have, how much confidence you are about your program. You got to start somewhere. I mean, if you started with your first client and it was free, and they gave you a raving testimonial video, that might be worth thousands of dollars eventually.
Right on. Yeah, exactly. I remember, and you figure this out quickly. Believe me, Ira and I, when we first started, we created this like inner circle, like kind of membership, and I think our price point was like $50, and so we were like, now we just need to get like 1,000 people into this thing. So this was like going back, way back in the day, and so we quickly realized that this would be like just crazy difficult, and we got our first guy to sign up like right away, but we're like, all right, now we just need 999 more of these $50 memberships. So anyway, we quickly decided that wasn't the way to go. So yeah, I mean, bring on your customers, and you'll know very quickly whether that's the right price point, or is anybody signing up, is anybody taking your offer on it. If there's not enough people, then maybe you're too high, right? Or maybe you're just not providing enough value. It's always a question about value. But no, I completely agree with everything that you're saying. So let me go into, like, let's just say you have your brand together. Maybe you have some price points. And by the way, if you think you have a killer brand, I really encourage you to still like really take a look at what Debbie Allen's doing, because I mean, I was blown away by some of the examples that she gave, where she took somebody who, it looked like a killer brand, had a great logo and all of that stuff, but in the end, Debbie talked about it just didn't make sense from a attraction point of view. You're not attracting the kind of people that you truly want to attract, because I mean, people don't know what you do based on your logo, based on your taglines, based on the name of your company and all of that stuff. And so in the end, she like swapped it out, and it was just all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's what they do, and it's just like you get it right away.
Mm-hmm. So right.
Yeah, it's stellar.
Thousands and thousands. I mean, that could save your business. Yeah. I mean, I have people that have been in business for years, and they're barely making it, and they're thinking they want to throw their business away, and it's this reinvention or this shift, and a lot of times it isn't that dramatic, but of a deal to do, not a huge investment in your money and time, but it makes huge return difference. Unbelievable, the results.
Yeah, you will tell them there was one. Just go into this real quick. You don't have to spend too much time on it, but there was one guy. It was like Guru Tropolis or something like that. That was
Yeah.
kind of like something that stuck in my head. That was an amazing example.
Yeah, Dan had a business called Guru Tropolis, and he had he had 6 other partners. They weren't making any money in it. They invested in all the brand stuff. They believed in this whole Guru Tropolis, the book, everything. So they launched and spent all this money, doing events, doing everything with product and branding, and it just wasn't sticking. It wasn't working because people were not getting what it was about. So they totally missed the mark. Their unique selling proposition was find your inner guru, and it was like, what the hell does that mean, right? If I was speaking to a very enlightened audience, they might go, oh, I know exactly what that is. But for the majority mass market, it probably was not. But the whole idea was that you would find your mentors, right? That you would find those people that you would follow. We were just talking about mentors, right? So if you didn't know, you're starting out, you go, where do I find these mentors, these top thought leaders? And I would go to this, let me see, their website is get a mentor, no, mentored life, a mentored life. That was it. I branded them a mentored life, and so then we got all kinds of domains around that. So you could go to this event, live events, and you could meet these speakers, or you could go to their online source because they have 2 different divisions, and you can buy the products from them and hear expert interviews from them and everything. So they weren't the people that were the experts, but they were bringing them this collective source. It was a brilliant, brilliant idea. But they were micromanaging each other, weren't making any money. So we narrowed it down to 2 people, and cleaned the organization up a little bit, and then rebranded them, and everything launched. He's still doing it to this day. And I was working with Dan probably 3 years ago when I launched him. He would have been out of business completely and broke within 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If all these brand experts get a hold of you, so-called brand experts get a hold of you, and you spend like a whole bunch of money on a really cool looking logo, but if it doesn't make sense, it's not going to make you any money. So I think that was a really great kind of brand transition strategy that you really implemented, and it made a huge difference in Dan's life. So I have one more question, then we're going to wrap up this interview. But let's just say you're a little bit more advanced. You got your brand in place. You got that all together. You've got some programs and all of that stuff. What is your step for kind of getting more sales, getting more in front of more people, attracting more of those clients that you're looking for? What are some other things that you do there? Because I know you got books, I know you have a bunch of really cool strategies that you implement.
Well, I've not found anything better than doing your own events. And I say it's putting on your big girl pants to have you're going to put on your big girl pants, but you know what it's like doing events, okay? You got to have a little bit of guts to do it because, not necessarily going to do a big one, right? That's why I say putting on events does not have to be, I'm putting on this big event, I got to fill seats. Start out with 10, 15 people, whatever it is, and build what I call your tribe. Those people that follow you. That go, and I have people, there was people at that last event, I'm like, oh my gosh, they've been following me for how many years? This person's been at my events, like, way back, and they're talking about events I did with, 3 partners ago and all this stuff, and it's like another life. But it's still your tribe, right, that follows you, and you grow and you build a platform from that. But I think when you have created your own platform, it's the best possible way. You have to speak on lots of other people's platforms to do that. You need to share a big chunk of money with them before you get there sometimes. But having your own platform is really the key because you are the expert of experts when you're up there because it's your event. And, people want to automatically do business with you even if you bring in other experts because you're running it and they followed you. And so I think that's the best way, start with that, whether that's a retreat, whether that's a one-day event, whether that's an evening event. I mean, I think if you're doing an evening event, you might as well do a one-day event, or a luncheon, day thing, and if you go from a one-day, you go to a 3-day. So, get it down to where you feel comfortable doing at least a one-day and then get it to a 3-day event or a retreat or a conference, whatever feels comfortable for you. I mean, you can't, every event has its own personality. It has to have its own vision, its own brand, its own theme. And so, I believe in that. And I've created different events with different themes that have different tribes. But there's no better way to make money because you're up there as the pro, and it's your party, and they're showing up. These are your friends showing up at the party, just waiting to have a good time and waiting to spend money with you.
Excellent. Very nice. Well, thank you so much for sharing this vital, incredible information for everybody out there listening. And you know, I want to go into one final thing, because I know you offer some amazing workshops. We were just talking about some of the events, and you know, one of the best platforms is to host your own events. And of course, the amazing Debbie Allen has her own event, and she has them. They're not. They're seldom enough to where they make them really, really important, and she gives a lot of great content in there. And so I know you've got a great event coming up. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, and where people, we'll give you a special link where you can go see more details about it. But why don't you tell us a little bit more details about what that's all about, and what you have in store for people?
Well, I'm super excited. I launched this event in May of this year called the High Paid Expert Workshop, and I launched it in Scottsdale. And I'm doing the second one, bigger and better. Now it's 3 days, and it is going to be awesome in one of my favorite cities, which is Vegas. Because talk about a theme and a fun place to have an event. And it is very educational. It's also going to be very, very fun. And I'm going to be training all 3 days. That's the difference about my events, is that I train. I used to have many, many speakers come to my events. You'd learn little nuggets of information. Now I train. This is what I believe in. So what I've discovered is I take, a mass market event, make it into a niched event, which is this high-paid expert. People that are very specific, saying, I want to get more clients that pay me more money. I want to become that expert in my field. I want to increase my coaching or service fees. I want to get better online exposure in what I do. I want to get more clients quickly and become that authority in my niche market. Those are the type of people that show up at my high-paid expert workshop. And it is very much a step-by-step process that I take you through. We start with the brand foundation, and then we start going into how to become a speaker and coaching, and I talk to you about your own events. I talk about all of this stuff over 3 days, and then I sprinkle in a couple experts to teach you the skills on social media and video marketing so that you can launch yourself. So it is a very all-inclusive. It is like you come 3 days, you leave with what I call the quick cash action plan. So not only do you leave with, I've done it, I get it, and I know where to go, you also leave with going, okay, where do I go to make fast cash right away? Because I believe that if you're out there, you need to keep reinvesting in your business, you need money. So not only do you get the information, you're gonna have that plan, and that's what's missing from a lot of events. So I've been going to events for 20 years, and I go, I want to create something that's missing, and that's what you need to do as an expert. You need to create something that's uniquely yours and that's really needed in the marketplace. So I guarantee when you come, it will blow you away. I'm so super excited. I can envision the entire thing already. That's why I'm so jazzed about it. So it's November 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 3 full days, fun Las Vegas, and Corey and Ira are going to be there with me as my guest experts as well, sharing some other cool things they're doing. And again, I'm very, very selective when I bring in the few experts that I bring in. So because I do most of the training, I hog most of the stage, because I'm going to teach you this formula, that authority domination formula I talked about. So, gosh, I hope you all get to come to Vegas. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Yes, excellent. And let me give you a link where you can go and get more details. It's mojovideo.org/high-paid-expert. All right, mojovideo.org/high-paid-expert. Get all the details on there, and I'm excited about it. I watched your presentation it was about an hour and a half, I think, the other day, and I wrote down. I had pages and pages of notes just from some of the stuff that you were going through, and that was just an hour and a half. And I can't imagine what amazing things you have in store for everybody that's watching this for a 3-day event. I mean, it's going to be stellar.
About notebooks. I better get one of those.
Yeah, I know,
I'll
right?
give you one of these notebooks that you can fill in. You might even cut you a couple of these when you get there. So thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, people take tons of notes at my events. So.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That is brilliant. I could count on you to always pull out something.
And it's branded, of course,
Yeah.
brand.
Do you have Debbie Allen branded underwear? I'm just curious.
I shouldn't probably say that, but I actually used to have my Shameless Diva underwear. Yeah,
That's
that was
awesome.
another time. I've reinvented. I've grown up. No more thong underwear that I throw out to the audience.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
send a
I
pair
give
this
them
way, I'm
notebooks
sure.
now.
Send a pair this way. I'm sure Ira will probably wear them.
Oh my God. I don't want to think about that.
Well,
See what
thank you
happens when we
so
get
much.
on video?
Yeah, thank you so much, Debbie, for being on here on the Mojo Show. Once again, if you want more exciting shows like this, go to MojoVideoMarketing.com. You can get more details on that. And once again, to go find out more details about this event, it's mojovideo.org/high-paid-expert. All one word, all lowercase. Okay. So we'll look forward to seeing all of you guys on there at this event. It'll be fabulous. You'll get a lot out of it. Mojo's going to be there, getting revealing some really amazing information. So we're excited to really partner with Debbie, and we've been looking to do something like this for a long time, and really glad it's come to fruition. So thanks again, Debbie. Any final words for everybody on the line before we wrap up?
Just thank you. See you in Vegas. Write those dates down, November 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I guarantee you that if you show up, it will be 10 times worth your value. You can watch any videos on the website, and you'll see the kind of results people get. I'm super jazzed. We're going to have a blast there. We're going to party, too.
I love it. I love parties.
Yeah. Okay, Corey. Because, yeah, actually I have a little party Saturday night. We're all going out to a show and dinner and stuff like that. So the first few people that sign up and get that VIP opportunity for night out of the town with me, that's part of it, too. So anyways, looking forward to it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and we'll chat again soon.
All right. You got it. Thanks, everybody. Adios.